how do law firms go about improving this new client intake process? And like, what are some of the strategies that you recommend?
Yeah, well, for this really good question, what you have to do is you have to map out what your process is because every firm's a little different, right? If you're personal injury and contingency, you're going to try to hire them on intake, right? If you're criminal defense, you want them to show up to your office if they're felony, or you can do something over the phone if they're, a lesser charge or less, potential size or complication. But you have to map out in secret shop your entire process. We even suggest secret shopping your intake. We do that for a lot of clients frequently. But okay, what does that process look like? Then what's the next step? Then what's the next step? You whiteboard this all out. Because if you don't think you have a sales funnel or a customer journey, you do. You just kind of assume that it just happens. You have to be deliberate about it. Okay, on intake, what's the three options? Maybe four: disqualified, refer out, set an appointment, or say no thank you, or hire them, right? Three or four options on intake, right?
Mhm.
That's your options. So for each one of those options, then you create another line out. Okay, if I refer them out, then what? Right? And if they don't set an appointment, then what? And if they do set an appointment, then what? Okay. So if they set an appointment, then I have to schedule it with an attorney to meet with. Do we have more than one attorney that takes these? And if so, is there one that closes better of this case? Maybe it's child abuse, or maybe it's a DUI, or maybe it's a state, or whatever it may be. Right. And so then when they meet with the attorney, okay, consultation. And then at the consultation, okay, what can happen? Well, they can be disqualified. I can still refer them out. They can hire me right at the consult, or they can go home and they need to think about it. Right. That's what I call it. Go home and think about it. So I'm like, what do you got to think about? Right. How much worse is it going to be tomorrow if you don't make a decision? But anyway, then they have to go home and think about it. Or what they may call is no hire, or what they may call is a crappy lead, because they never follow up with them because they didn't realize that that person's not ready to make a decision right now. So then you have all of these stages that every possible lead can map it out. When a lead comes into your office, how do they move through to a client, and what's all the stages and options? Then you build that into your intake system or your software, and you get everybody involved that deals with potential clients. Here's our process. Here's what we do. So when they come here and they don't hire, what do we do after the consultation? Well, that information now needs to be relayed, the reason they didn't hire, to the intake person. Because I'm a big proponent in the intake is sales. They need to be doing the follow-up after the consult because the attorney needs to go to work. They need to run the office or meet with the next potential client, should be on the intake to do the hiring later. So now if you're in this situation, they went through your marketing, set the appointment, showed up at the consult, still didn't hire you. So what's the options? Well, 2 days later, the intake person calls, hey, I know you were waiting to the 15th to get paid, or whatever the reason may be. And then they need to sell them on the value of the firm and overcome that objection. Right. And then they need to drip market them 8 to 12 emails over, if you're an estate planner, your sales cycle may be 3 months. So over 3 months, you're in DUI, you get a week. So you're talking to them every day because they got to get in front of a judge, get their whatever it may be, whatever your sales cycle, forever practice area, right? That's what your nurturing kind of lays out to. So if you're in that criminal defense situation, the next day you're going to get a call from the intake person reiterating the reason why they're the best firm. Then they're going to get an email, what it's like to work with us day number one. And there's a video of the attorney on there. Then the next day they get a case study. Hey, we were working with this lady that came in, and she was a business owner and drove for a living. And she got this situation, and this is what we were able to help her out with. I know your situation may be different, but this is what we do for our clients. We're ready to help you. Let's get to work, right? And then the intake calls again on the third day. And then there's 2 text messages. So when you map out your entire intake process, then you as the owner need to map out, okay, of all these touch points, what type of communication or nurturing do I need to put to move them to the next stage that I've already mapped out? Then the third evolution of that is map out everything that can happen. Then 2, what are my staff and what are we going to do for nurturing to keep them in the sales funnel, moving them down to a client? And then the third one is then try to attach numbers to each stage, like your appointment set. What's your appointment set rate? Like you need the stage for people to actually show up. for video, phone, or in the office. That's your show stage. What's my show rate for my firm? Is it above 95%? If it's not, well, I got to fix this. Well, we need to text, we need to call the day before. Now we've fixed our show rate, right? Our appointment set rate sucks. We're only setting 65% of our qualified leads. Well, I need to go and teach our intake people how to be more empathetic, overcome what objections you're getting that you can't overcome. What are people saying? Let's meet. So when you map it out, and then the second stage is create nurturing at each stage, text, email, phone calls, and then assign those to your staff members or automate for the tech to do it. Then the third part is put a number to it, because then when you put a number to it, then you start to make smarter decisions. Like my intake person sucks at converting qualified clients, so they're not the right person, or I need to train them. This attorney can't close a door, let alone a potential client. Why? And it's Nick, when we do that, when we consult with clients, we show them the number. When the managing attorney's name's on the door and they're closing at 14%, those are tough conversations to have.
Yep.
They're business conversations to have. But that's what if I was starting a law firm today, that's what I would do.